Hello there, everyone. I'm just going to briefly run through a demo of the open source adult social care system that was built by Hackney Council. There are basically three parts to the system. This is a very rough and ready demo. This is not polished. I just want to give people a sense of the functionality and how it all works. So I'll run through it quite quickly. But there are basically three parts of the system. The first is the case viewer, which basically just allows you to see service user records and add and edit them, and create cases and allocate them to social workers. So I'm going to start as an admin in there. I'm going to log in. Oh, and because the authentication system was all kind of integrated with Hackney's Google accounts, we've replicated that. This is kind of a fake login to allow us to run this demo. So let's log in as an administrator. I'm going to just show you quickly. We've got the teams here, and these, there are three teams here. I'm going to pick this one, adult test, which I know we've got some test cases set up. So one on the waiting list. Basically what that means is it's been allocated to this team, but hasn't been allocated to a member within the team. Here are two that are active. Both have been allocated to Polly, and Polly is, in this test, the only social worker within the team. So if I go back to that as an administrator, I go look at Aisha's case here. You can see allocated to the team, but not yet allocated to a worker. Just going to show you briefly what that looks like for, actually, let me allocate that to Polly now. Here we go. We can see that she is obviously the only person in this test team, so we can allocate it easily. We'll use today's date and then we'll continue. So now if we go back to the teams, we can see that the adult test team that is no longer in the waiting list is now active and is with Aisha. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is just quickly show you what that looks like for Aisha in her. So I'll keep going back to this adult social care page just to get back to the game. I'm going to now log in as Polly, the social worker we've just allocated that to. Now you'll see Aisha, Polly has got 3 people now assigned to her. And if I look at the workflows for Polly, this is where we go through to the second part of the system, which is what we call the core pathway. This is where assessments are made, start to put together the kind of care required for the individual. So I'm just going to go to workflows. Now, what you'll see in here is that Polly actually only has 2 cases in progress. That's because although she's got someone else assigns her, the workflow hasn't yet been set up. So we're going to do that for Aisha. What we're going to do is we're going to add a workflow, and that workflow will be in the form of wait for it to come up. Let's start a new assessment, and we will make it a Care Act assessment. And let's say, yeah, initial Care Act assessment, and let's continue with that. Get a chance to edit these if they're not correct. We're going to assume in this case they are correct. And now you can see we're into a Care Act assessment, and Polly could go through with Aisha and start to populate some of these details, adding key contacts, things like that. Now, as you can see, it's not particularly it's not a particularly quick job, but you know, I can run you through it. Current situation, staying hospital and NHS facility. Let me pick up some others. What needs are You can see all this kind of stuff is quite smart. You only have to enter the detail that you need. And so we can go through that now. So I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to go back to my workflows, and you'll now see that because I've started that, Aisha is now also in progress. What I'm going to do is pick up one of the other cases, which is Cristobal here. So you can see what that looks like as we move through. So again, this is a Care Act assessment that is in progress. I'm going to resume this so you can see that I've actually completed most of this information in here. Yeah, all the different sections are done. I'm just going to make sure we put something in the timetable. Let's say, yes, they do need some timetable care. And I'm going to just say that they need 15 minutes every morning. Just so that'll help us when we come to set up the care package. So we've now got a bit of a schedule that they're going to need this 15-minute visit. Oh, I just need to change that, make sure I've answered all the questions, and we should be able to save and continue now. Right, so that's done, and you'll see this is now ready to submit. Everything's complete, so I'm going to submit that. And because I want to show you the third part of the system in a minute, which is the brokerage system, I'm going to say this is a new package of care and needs to go to brokerage. Need to be arranged. So let's just save that. View it in 6 months. And let's say the reviewer is going to be Abigail. So I'm going to finish and send that. Now we'll see that's moved to waiting for approval. Obviously, Polly isn't an approver, so there's not much else you can do about it. But if we go back, start through the process again, go back and log in as into the core pathway as let me find Abigail. Sorry. Abigail. Let's log in as Abigail. Abigail is a social worker. She can go to the workflows and she will see that she has something in her workflow which is waiting for approval. I'm going to simply move through this very quickly. Abigail has the opportunity to make a decision. Yes, we are going to approve this. I could send it back to make some to notify Polly to make some changes, but we're going to send it straight through to quality assurance. Let's say Deepak is going to approve that, and that will essentially take it off Abigail's list and move it over to quality assurance. One more time, we'll go to the login. We will log in as, where was Deepak there? Again, this goes through to the case viewer. We are able to go to workflows. Excuse me 1 second. And now Deepak is able to go into that and he can make a decision. So we're kind of moving it through the approval chain. Yes, this has been authorized. Submit this. And back to the workflows. Again, it's moved on to the next section. So I just want to show you quickly, this is quite a nice Kanban. You can close all these up and just have open them as and when you need them. So it's quite good on a smaller screen, this workflow. Now, so that has now been completed. And if we, as we know, it was the next step was to go through to brokerage. So I'm going to do it once again. So now, excuse me, just finally, we are going to look at the brokerage section. I'm going to log in as a brokerage assistant who basically just has to see stuff in brokerage and assign it. We can see that case that's just come over from Birgit Evans. And you can view all the information, so you can open up the stuff there. £3,276. Weekly cost 63. So you can see all that, but basically I just want to show you that I can now assign it. We have one person that's available to assign it to, that's Susan. So now when we go there, it has now been assigned. We're going to go back, log in as Susan to brokerage. Susan is a broker. She is going to do the main bulk of the work here, which is to start building up the care package. As you can see, you can add a service. We're going to call this physical support. It's going to start on the 2nd of the 3rd, 2026. I'll save that. And then we will be able to add an element. We will do it as home care is the element. And then within that, I'm just going to show you this. We can do this weekly, where you get the chance to, what I should have said is we can do this hourly, which will give us the chance to go through and specify all the cost for each day of the week. I'm actually just going to take a bit of a shortcut and do it weekly, so it's a bit quicker. And we've got a couple of test care providers in there. I think we said it was £63 per week. We're going to start it on the 2nd of the 3rd, 2026. We're going to run it for about 2 weeks, which would be about the 6 weeks, which would be about there, more or less, 2026. And we'll just here for now. And we're going to say the service user will contribute towards payments. So you can add multiple elements, multiple services and multiple elements within that service. Right now, again, for the sake of speed, I'm just going to submit that for approval. Deborah's the person that's going to approve it. And you guessed it. And now if we go home, it's now awaiting approval. We'll log in as, who did I say? In brokerage, we've done Adam, we've done Susan, we've now got Deborah. So Deborah will see it in her list. You'll see she can, different price ranges that mean different processes, but we'll just do this one now. Right, let's say, fairly straightforward. There's the details that I added there. £63 a week, total weekly cost. We're going to authorize it. Simple as that. That is now authorized. We go home, we see it's shifted from Deborah's workflow. I think the last person in terms of this particular case would be the, oops, sorry, I'm in the wrong bit. It would be not Susan, not Deborah, it would be Hannah, who's the care charge officer. And it appears in her caseload. So caseload officer is essentially going to, this CEDA reference is just a reference for the Hackney finance system, I believe. But I am going to add some care charges here because Birgit is going to pay a little bit towards her daycare. Confirm that. And we will say non-residential care charges collected by Hackney. And we've got £63 there. The contribution is going to be £20. And I think we have to just populate this again. And 16. And let's say, that's that. Okay, £63. Seen that before. There's going to be a weekly cost of £20. And let's just confirm that. So that is all done. That case is now processed and that should be commissioned. The last person that we are going to log in as is someone who wants to report on this, which I believe, if you go back there, is Pavinda. He is a finance officer. Now, we didn't fully implement integration with the finance system. What we did was got a specification from them, which would, let's say we're going through to whatever, June. So what we allow them to do is download a report, and we can see that that's now a CSV file that's just gone. Obviously, I'm just going to show you, it's not a very exciting report, but it's in a format which we agreed with the finance team would allow them to import it directly into their systems and process all the payments. It's quite a complex process of managing all the different payments, but I just need to share a different window. So if I briefly switch to, I'm going to have to stop presenting and then start again. Here we go. Okay, so not very exciting, but you can just see it's essentially a list of the payments that need to be processed this week in a format that can be imported. Right. That's about it for now. As you can see, we've got an end-to-end process. I didn't show adding case notes or new service users, but we did take a case. We allocated it to a social worker. That social worker did a Care Act assessment that went through a whole approval process, and then a service package was put together and brokered effectively. So that's the kind of end-to-end process. I will stop presenting and leave it there for now. Thank you for listening. If you want any information, do let me know. Thank you.